When Makoto Shibata looked to create a scary game based on his own spiritual experiences, the eventual outcome was 2001's Zero for the PlayStation 2. Released in Western territories soon after as Project Zero in Europe and Fatal Frame in North America, the series became very popular and has since spawned 4 further mainline titles. Maiden of Black was the 5th entry in the main series and released for the Wii U back in 2014. It has now made its way to the Nintendo Switch, but will the Maiden of Black thrill you just in time for Halloween, or is it all, well, just a bit of a damp squib? I'm Glen Bolger, thank you to Koei Tecmo for the review code, and now let's find out. The story revolves around the setting of Mount Hakami, a once revered place where shrine maidens would guide people to a peaceful death when the time came, but in more recent years it's become more infamous as the site of many suicides. There are 3 protagonists at the centre of the story and the mystery surrounding the mountain, being Yuri Kozukata, Ren Hojo and Miyu Hinasaki. Their stories will intertwine as events unfold. So gameplay wise, this is a third person survival horror game which is broken into chapters and sees you playing as either Yuri, Ren or Miyu as and when the story calls for it. You'll visit a number of different locations following objectives and using your map or your trace ability to help you find the next waypoint and move the story along. The biggest gameplay mechanic in the Project Zero series is the camera Obscura, a camera that allows you to see the unseen. It serves many purposes during the game and is accessed by pressing the X button to enter a first-person camera mode. Some of these features will assist you in progressing through the environments, for example, the psychic photograph which may highlight an area of interest in the room. This could be a locked door, and taking a photo of the door will reveal the location of the key elsewhere. There will also be times where you will see a spirit for a brief moment. If you are quick enough and get a photo of them before they disappear, you will earn additional points at the end of the chapter, and this allows you to upgrade the camera Obscura and can also be used to purchase further costumes to use for the characters. Another example is the Phantom Expose, and again, should you have appeared to have reached a dead end, scanning the environment may reveal an item that was invisible to the naked eye, and focusing on it will see it apparate into the real world. As you delve deeper into environments, you will encounter spirits, and here is where the camera Obscura's biggest feature comes into play. Taking photos of these spirits will damage them, essentially making the camera your weapon for the duration of the game. A spirit's weak point is shown via a circle, and capturing more of these circles within the frame will deal more damage. Sometimes spirit fragments will appear after photographing a ghost, and capturing a number of these fragments along with any of the aforementioned weak points to total 5 will lead to the capture area turning red and you being presented with a shutter chance, again doing more damage. There are further nuances to battle, such as the fatal frame shot, which of course lends its name to the North American release. Taking the picture just as they are about to attack you will see you deal more damage and earn more points. And you can also find more powerful films scattered about levels, and whilst these have a finite number of uses as opposed to the standard film, they are potentially more powerful. On top of this, you will unlock new abilities for your camera too, such as ones that deal more damage or ones that allow you to dodge. Battling these spirits can feel incredibly creepy and quite tense at times as you desperately try to get the right shot before the ghost is upon you. I do feel that battles sometimes drag on a little too long, or there are too many spirits in a row. It's not a huge issue, but it can lead to a few moments of tedium. This leads me to the controls, which probably present the biggest issue I have with the game. Movement is very slow and cumbersome, which affects both exploration and battles. You move your character with the left stick and move the camera with the right, but the camera speed is very slow even with the sensitivity turned up. During battles, avoiding ghosts can feel quite awkward, especially in tighter areas, and even when gaining the aforementioned dodge ability. Sometimes when using this, it puts your camera away and can lead to you facing in the wrong direction completely and having to gather your bearings before repositioning yourself to re-engage with battle with the spirit. It will become second nature the more you play, as is generally the case with any sort of controls in games, but they're not quite as fluid as they could have been. When in camera mode, you have 2 options. You can move the camera freely using the motion controls, be it physically moving your controller, tilting it to move the angle of the photo, or moving the Switch itself when playing in handheld mode. I found this a bit awkward in handheld, although it wasn't too bad when using the controller. You can otherwise move the perspective with the right stick and press L or R to angle your shot. Obviously the game was originally developed with the Wii U gamepad in mind, but despite this, my preferred choice this time round was to use the stick and shoulder button combination. I just felt it allowed for easier capture of the spirit fragments within the frame, even if it wasn't quite as immersive as using the motion controls. Gameplay certainly has moments of tension. It has that old school survival horror feel to it, and the battles can set the pulse racing. A few tedious moments and the occasional odd design choice hamper things a tad, but gameplay on the whole scores 16 out of 20. Controls are the weakest aspect of the game, not broken or anything like that, just a bit more awkward than they should be, and they score 13 out of 20. When it comes to the visuals, whilst it does look a little bit dated, to be fair it probably looked dated when the Wii U version came out back in 2014, it's definitely more than the sum of its parts. The dated aspects refer mainly to character models, especially some of the spirits when you get up close, and there is some popping in places, but even with these small complaints, the atmosphere created is incredibly strong, and in my opinion, this supersedes the issues I just mentioned. A mixture of eerie locations, a fantastic use of cutscenes, many of which include a grainy photographic filter, and good designs for the spirits themselves really do aid the game in selling this dark and macabre universe to the player, but the biggest string to this game and the series bow in general is the ghostly premise. Using melee weapons to down hordes of zombies is creepy fun, but games like that are 10 a penny these days. Ghost games are more of a rarity, and there are very few that get the slow burning, almost suffocating tension of such horror as right as the Project Zero games. Performance wise though, things are a little more disappointing. There are momentary frame drops which leads to some stuttering whilst playing in docked. It doesn't ever ruin the gameplay, as usually they will occur whilst you are walking slowly or exploring, and it's more about it affecting the immersion. Things can also get a little choppy when you run down more linear sections in levels, and it can make for quite difficult viewing at times, and this is exacerbated by the fact that, as I mentioned, your characters walk so slowly that running almost feels essential a lot of the time. In handheld mode, whilst the game doesn't suffer from the blurry effect that so many Switch games do, and the text is also of a good size, unfortunately the frame drops are more frequent, especially when using the run button. Again, this will irritate some people more than others. I play the majority of my games in handheld, so will put up with such issues, but just be aware that whilst still not affecting the gameplay, the stutters are definitely worse when playing this way. Audio wise, most of what's here is a mixture of ambient noise, as well as low musical beats that accentuate the moments and happenings on screen in a way that is befitting of the horror based gameplay. Voice acting is used throughout the game, and for the most part I found this to be very strong, and the sounds and the final words of the spirits as they are exorcised are certainly haunting, albeit this will begin to lose its impact after hearing the same line a few times. Visuals benefit from the creepy locations and use of unsettling cutscenes. It all does a fantastic job of creating a beautifully macabre atmosphere. Unfortunately, performance does let things down, especially in handheld mode, and on the whole they score 17 out of 20. Audio definitely delivers the eerie ambience that the visuals would call for, and a little more variety in the voice clips from the spirits would have just topped it off. It also scores 17 out of 20. Project Zero Maiden of Black costs £32.99 and regional equivalents are on your screen now. There have been some improvements made to the original game for this remastered version, including improved screen resolution, new character outfits, and the snap mode feature, which allows you to use character models and other assets to create creepy pictures of your own. Updated controls was also listed as a selling point for this new version, although it could be argued they are actually a bit of a downgrade from the gamepad-centric ones of the Wii U original. That will be up to the individual player. In terms of a physical release, there is only one in Asia, and whilst it will be receiving an English patch, there is no English on the cartridge as standard. As far as I understand, this patch will not release until the physical version has released in all Asian regions, which is not until the end of next month I believe, so just bear this in mind if you are importing. If you are still interested though, we do have a link to Play Asia where you can grab it. Use our code SwitchUp to get 5% off of your order. Link will be in the top pinned comment. On balance, value scores 15 out of 20. To conclude, Project Zero Maiden of Black is definitely a worthwhile entry in the Switch's horror library. It has in its favour the fact there is just nothing else really like it that I can think of on the Switch. It's a very different horror experience, focusing more on slow build up and atmosphere. There are better games in this series, but that's not to say that this one isn't a good game in its own right. In fact, if you can get past the awkward controls and a few moments of tedium, as I said, the atmosphere alone is worth experiencing. If you are looking for a game to play this Halloween, this could well fit the bill, and if this leads to earlier entries in the series being re-released, particularly the second game, a personal favourite of mine, then I'd definitely be up for that. Project Zero Maiden of Black gets a SwitchUp score of 78%. Thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. Is this a game that interests you? Let us know in the comment section below. If not, which game will you be playing over the Halloween weekend? A quick thank you to our Patreons as always for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, happy Halloween, and until next time, happy gaming.